Hey Bickies, how's it going? It's Tara. I hope you're all fantastic today. It is Wednesday. It is the Biscuit box. It's what time is it? We're a little bit late. It's 11:05. So welcome to the Biscuit box. We do these live streams every Wednesday at 11-ish. Such an Irish thing, isn't it? I'll see you at 11-ish. So we are talking to Emma Higgins today. Emma's going to hop in with us. I'm going to bring her in now to say hi. And Emma is an amazing character. You're going to love her. Well, I love her anyway. She's amazing. Emma creates fantastic art, like really bright, really bold, beautiful work. And I'm delighted to have her today on the Biscuit box. And why I wanted to bring Emma on today was to talk to us about Gifted. So Gifted, if you're not in Ireland, or maybe you're down the country in Ireland somewhere and you're not sure what Gifted is, it is a huge exhibition every year. And I think they do it a couple of times a year actually, but at this particular time of year, obviously it's aimed at the Christmas market. So Emma had a gorgeous stand at the fair this year, and it was Emma's first time, was it, Emma, at Gifted? So we want to kind of dive in and talk to Emma about the experience, of what she thought of it. Was it worth it? What was the moolah like? Like, do you make some money? Which is all the questions that you need to answer if you're going to make a decision to invest your time and energy, and because it's a lot of work, isn't it, Emma? Like, and we're going to dive into that now with Emma, but I think it's important to have a no bullshit conversation on what these events are really, really like. And is it worth making the plunge yourself if you're a creative in business and you kind of are thinking about it? And if you're not, and you're just a person that likes to go to these events, I think it's really important to understand and see what it's actually like from the exhibitors' perspective, and the amount of work that goes into actually just turning up and surviving it, like, because I know it's a lot of work and very long hours, but buzzy as well. So Emma Higgins, hello.
Owen, we just about got on there. Oh my God, that was more stress trying to get onto this call than it was for the whole of the weekend.
And you know what? It's such a funny thing, because it really gives you an insight into people that do live stuff, like, where you're going, oh my God, quick. It's kind of buzzy though, right?
Totally. And yeah, I had a brilliant weekend, and it was funny because it was it was only about 3 or 4 months ago that I thought about doing this show, because it's such a big undertaking, mostly financially, really. And, it's daunting to be selling for that many hours, and to think about how much stock you're going to need, and what stock you're going to need, and what's going to sell. And so it's kind of, I'd say probably the first year you do it is definitely much, much harder than any other year you would do it, and just kind of to get over that learning curve. But I had great kind of insight from other people in Biscuit Factory, and just in Bite the Biscuit, that do it all the time. So, I kind of looked and thought about doing Art Source, and then I thought possibly my market is more at Gifted. So just kind of, it was all a wing, it was all trying to figure out where would be the best place. But
I think we talk about this a lot in the factory as well, don't we? About choosing where you put your work. It's really important, isn't it, Emma? Because, not every exhibition, even though, yeah, we're selling art, but like, it's very different when you've a certain style, and it's so important to know your target market as well, really well, and put yourself there rather than expecting something generically from just selling. Yeah.
I was in a good place because I had done an exhibition there, and so I would have a lot of large pieces. Well, I didn't know I would, but I ended up having a good few. Like, when I had my exhibition there, I sold mostly small ones, so I knew I had the big pieces that would kind of make an impact and fill the space. And also, just from my point of view, I have been selling my work regularly every weekend at Terranure Village Market in Bushy Park, and I kind of know my client base, and just from keeping on, like looking at them and looking who's buying and seeing what they're buying, I kind of knew that it would be my market at Gifted, that they would be the type of people that would be there. So so that was kind of the research I had done. And I guess I was kind of late to the party picking where I was going to be there, because a lot of it was sold out. So I think probably the biggest thing for me was I'd probably change where the location of where I was actually at the show. Like I feel like it was a success, but I think like next year I'd probably be more organized and get in there faster just to get the right place, if you know what I mean. So that was the problem with being late to the party.
Late to the party. At least you were there though. Like fair play to you, Emma, for just going right and doing it. Let's do it. Like you're brilliant. Making stuff happen.
Exactly, and it's a huge achievement. Like everyone that you meet there, when you say it's your first year, they're like, "Oh, congratulations, well done," because I think it is a big achievement to think about putting yourself on that stage and making that commitment financially, really, to doing it. You know, because it's like arrived, and I guess it's the same with all the other big shows like Art Source and that. Like you've arrived if you're here to do this. Like you're putting yourself out to however many thousands of people that are going to go and visit the show. So you know,
it's huge. It's a big step in your business, isn't it? Like, you know, because I know that every Saturday you're in Terranure and you put in the hours there, and you've built up such a loyal customer base and the skills for being on the ground talking to people. And I think that is just gold. Like I really think it's gold. So it's taking that, what you're doing continually in your business to date, and bringing it to a different level. And it's just that nearly step up, isn't it, into something a little bit more produced.
Because it's definitely a bit like what I said, like a bigger stage. And a lot of the people I spoke to, like they kind of said, you know, their first year was like really tough and they didn't do that well. And, you know, it just, they ended up getting like 90% of the customers that bought from the first year came back and bought the second year. So I took that little snippet from the very beginning and just immediately started taking names and addresses of people that were buying off me, because I, like, you could tell from nearly every single person I spoke to, they are loyal, gifted people. They go every year. That is their thing. They go there, they pick the day they're going. They hope that someone is going to send them out free tickets, because, you know, everyone is given free tickets.
Okay.
So I started the minute building my list of who I'm going to send tickets out to next year.
Brilliant.
So that was good.
Right, that's a great idea as a way to build your list as well and to want to invite people to come to your stand, like to meet you again. That's really interesting. And I think the girls said that, Fran and Karen and Miriam and Jean were saying that as well, from the work in Art Source, like, you know, especially Fran and Miriam and Karen, when like it was their first year, and how, you know, it's difficult because you don't necessarily sell a lot in the first year, just like, so it's the same thing. So I think it is that across the board for all these big exhibitions. I wonder, people go every year, so they build up that following from just being there. So it's a long game, really, like, Emma, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I did very well, really, sales-wise, and that as well, my first year. I think I over-prepared a little bit, because like last Christmas, and just with all the markets I did run out of things. So I just thought, like, the worst possible thing could be me being at Gifted, absolutely smashing it, and running out of frames or running out of mounts, because I do all of that stuff myself. So I really, like, I overspent on all that stuff, but it's no big deal. Like, I have it all here, you know, so it's just, I'll have a bigger profit margin next year. But so I was so prepared that, like, I over ordered on stuff, but that's fine, you know, it's no big deal. And I had brilliant sales, and as I said, I definitely have loyal customers from my own, like, experience just over the last few months. People come back to me. I was even at Bushy Park Market there the weekend before, and loads of people came back that were all my regular customers. So I know that I will get, these are like, say, another 60 or 70 new customers now that are all probably going to be loyal customers. So
amazing. And that's amazing to bring it up to that, to increase your customers by that number. That's incredible. Like, you know, so was it worth it?
Oh, definitely worth it. And like already I'm looking, like I kind of feel just because I was quite late to the party, I feel like I didn't get the optimum spot that I could have got there. You know, I could have got like I was in the industries hall, and I know you're not allowed in the main hall your first year. You do it, you're only allowed in the industries hall, so you've got to spend a bit more to get into the main hall. But it was absolutely, you know, very obviously more busy in there all of the time, so I think the footfall is definitely much better in the main hall, and I would definitely.
How do you do that then? Do you have to, is it?
So, well, they're quite selective, obviously, about what they're going to put. And like, if you're not selling Irish-made stuff, I think they probably wouldn't. Like, you're not going to get the option there of the main hall. But I think I'm going to get in there early now. And there's plenty of other artists not doing like similar type of artists that me that would be, say, target the same market, that were all in the main hall. So I'm just going to look. I think try and find a good spot there and book it early this year, and make commitment to do it. There was one other thing though. A lot of the exhibitors that I was talking to and around me, and even ones that were in the main hall that I spoke to, they didn't have as good, they felt like the footfall wasn't as good this year. So I think there might have been a bit of competition from the Flea. So
That's
especially right. Weekend. So actually I was like, why didn't I do the Flea? So next year I'm going to book in for both, I think, because I been a good thing to do, say, next weekend, whereas now I don't have anything on this weekend. But I think the bottom line in the Flea would be higher because you know you're not paying as much rent on your pitch. It's so high in the RDS, you know, it's really, really high. So
and it was interesting that they had it on the same weekend, like or the same period. I know the Flea would finish yesterday, I think, but it was on for 5.
I think it's on as well next weekend too.
Oh, is it?
I think it's, but they're not. They don't have the same people there. Like it's switched over to new people. So it's you were, if you were given the Flea, as far as I know, you were allowed to do one of the weekends, but not both.
Okay, that's interesting.
There's loads of bickies there. There's loads of bickies doing the Flea. As far as I know.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. There is loads. I must put a note call out to see who's in there this weekend as well. Was there anything like from a sales perspective that was a big takeaway for you, Emma? Like, you know, it's something that really worked for you, that you could maybe like, because I know there's shitloads of people that are doing it. Like, for example, the Flea this weekend, and perhaps even more local, smaller fairs. Like you're really good at selling, and I remember someone that was in at the weekend was watching you going, oh, this girl is amazing, like, because you're so used to it and so good at it.
I come from a long line of car salesmen. That's where it really comes from. But no, I think, you know, I think I know my customer very well now, so it's kind of easy to pitch at them. And as well, like, I think when people see you being passionate about your work and what you do, they really like it, and they really like to meet who did the work and where it came from. And another thing I did was I brought, because I spent the bulk of last year working in notebooks and getting all my ideas down before I did all those big collection of paintings this year. So I actually brought my notebooks in with me so I could show people really, like, this is where the ideas came from and this is where it all started. So and they really liked that. So that was kind of one good selling thing I did. So
that's brilliant. It's kind of like what you would do on, say, Instagram, like a work in progress, but you're bringing it offline, because we're so used to bringing stuff online. That's really smart. I love that, Emma. That's a real good takeaway. Now everyone's going to be doing that, Emma.
The other thing I wanted to just take away and share with people who are thinking about doing, it was actually a lot, the whole setup and takedown and organization was a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. I thought it was going to be like, dragging things from way out in the middle of the car park in, and it ended up, the whole setup process was actually quite much easier than I expected. So that was kind of a good thing to take away. Actually having the fear about that I was going to be like making, you know, 100 trips out to my car, because I had an awful lot of stuff to bring in. So
did you find that you guys were supported well by the organisers? Was there information given on footfall during the event, or?
Really, no. I think they're a bit a little bit complacent over what kind of quality they get in there. And I think also just another thing was, I don't like, you know, if you're going to brand yourself as the National Design and Crafts Fair, I think that you should be supporting people that are, you know, making everything for themselves from scratch just a little bit more. I think there should be reduced rates for people who are like me, doing everything by themselves. And that, you know, there was plenty of businesses around me that are just, you know, they're buying stuff and selling it, and they're just buying more stuff and selling it, and they're not making anything. So I do think that you're going to pitch yourself, like, I think they have a bit to answer for that they should actually be supporting people. Because I noticed with the Flea, the rates for the Flea were I think you definitely got a better rate if you were, say, type like me, and then you got you know, it was a more expensive rate if you're an established business that's, you know, buying stuff in or whatever. So I think that one thing that they could look at, and just looking at the overall quality of what they'd get would be higher if they were able to reduce the costs for, say, people like me that are trying to get in. So that's great.
That's a great point, though, and it might be something that we could actually communicate to them. Yeah, perhaps we should get them on the Biscuit Box to talk to us about stuff. Yeah, you know, how the
Biscuit area of Gifted next year. You know, reduce fabulous. Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Barrymore, if you're listening, there's a project for you, Barry. We'll get Barry to organize that for us. That's great, Emma. I think I know you smashed it, like, and you're hugely passionate and really talented, and it's such a pleasure to see and to work with you over in the factory, and just to watch your journey. It's incredible, and you know, you can see the growth and just the development of what you're doing. It's just great to watch it. Tell us a little bit about, just before we go, tell us what's coming up next. Have you any exhibitions or any?
Yeah. Well, I have a few things. I haven't booked in any more markets. I kind of thought, you know, this is going to be enough. And the other thing is, I took heed Gifted said, which was, do not do any other markets in Dublin. And I kind of thought to myself, for the 2 months, they said they make you sign a contract.
Wow.
Now, I quickly realised that nobody pays any attention to this, and a lot of the people I know are trading in Castletown, Farmley, blah blah blah, everywhere, and they're totally not paying any attention to that little clause. So I kind of paid attention to that, and I shouldn't have, but I just thought to myself, I'm going to do the Bushy Park one because that's obviously my regular market, but I might have booked in for something else next weekend, and you know, didn't. But anyway, I have a customer night coming up on Monday, which I do at my home studio here, which is always very successful, and a lot of my customers come to pick up stuff. So that'll be here. It's in Knockline in Dublin. The event is on my Facebook page, Emma Higgins Art. And then I have another exhibition coming up in February in Tala Library. So I haven't put the details of that up yet. So I'll have a few new paintings and probably a few more recent ones that I've done there for my last show as well. So
great. Fair play to you, Emma. You're inspirational, girl. Well done. Keep up the amazing work, and thank you so much for hopping on this morning, and for sharing all that gold. Just before you go, though, I want to quickly go in to see who is talking to us. Is there any questions in the comments? Hey, Julia, how's it going? Julia says, very interested to hear how you got on, Emma, as I did it 2 years ago, but wouldn't again. So Julia said she wouldn't do it again, which is interesting. Hey, Niamh. Hey, Rachel. Barry, hola. Barry says, I always found it hard to identify demographics, but I knew my people when I seen them. Yeah, that's it. Sarah says, huge commitment, well done. Julia, again, you don't get to choose where your stand is, though. Only the ones that go year after year get the best places. Well done, though. So that's interesting. Jerry's in, and she says, hey, ladies, sorry I'm late. Don't worry, Jerry. Well done, Emma. Your stand looked fantastic. Okay, so, Denise, hey, Denise, sounds great, Emma. Nolan says, well done, Emma. We're very proud of you. Absolutely. Okay, so there's a few other comments. Oh, Sarah, and I know Sarah has done a lot of fairs as well. And Sarah says they been getting away with that for years. So that's interesting. So there's a few things there. That's an interesting conversation to have with them, actually. And Ina says, what about a biscuit fair next year, Tara? We'll write that down on the scrum board, Ina. And AJ says, I applied this year and got a space, but I couldn't take it due to the high cost. So that really goes back to what you were saying, Emma, of just giving people that entry point break, especially when you're the creator. I think that's important.
Yeah, and there's like literally about 50% of the people there are not creating themselves, you know, and they've passed muster to get in, but you know, they're handmade, and they're not Irish design. So it's like Ireland's contemporary design and craft fair, but you know, there's at least, I'd say, 60% that isn't Irish. So
wow, that's incredible. So they're just selling the stands then to bigger for the money.
Some are regular traders that trade around the markets and whatever. They import the stuff, and maybe they are Irish, but what they're selling is not necessarily.
Okay.
It's nice to have the competition, and of course, British products, but definitely, you know, there is an opening there for just Irish, you know.
Just Irish, yeah, that's interesting. Julia says as well, there was some tack let in the last time I did it, not handmade. Also, I think they were trying to cram too many crafters in, and it was getting too big. Craft fatigue set in for some people. Interesting. Okay, that's great, gang. And Sarah just said there before we go, customers believe all the products are Irish. So from a marketing perspective, Gifted are putting out it's Irish craft and design when really it's not. And customers, people that are visiting, are given the incorrect information. That's really interesting, actually.
Yes, definitely.
Rubbing chin. Well, it's good to highlight that, though, isn't it? And to be, you know, just to make people aware of it. As you said, Emma, it's okay for other people to exhibit, but give the Irish crafters a bit of leeway from a cost perspective. That could be the balance, right?
Definitely.
That's interesting. Okay, Emma, have a lovely, lovely Christmas. Good luck with your customer night. I think that's such a great idea. Well done. I'll see you over in the factory, and happy Christmas. Thanks, Emma.
Everyone.
Bye. Keep creative. Talk to you guys. Bye.